fought.
It's not the thing to be talking about at all. You know, Dak is our quarterback.
Your money records, the Army, the Navy. They ran me 10,000. I threw it like Brady.
Roethlisberger is one of 4 Steelers under this COVID umbrella right now.
Those guys will be working remotely, testing daily. As long as their tests come back negative, we believe that all 4 guys have an opportunity to be made available to us.
Dash a digi, the schedule busy. My head in a hoodie, my shorty.
This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin coming to you live from above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17. 2 of the NFL's gigantic fan bases, tongue planted firmly in cheek, as Ben would tell you. It was America's team against the world's team, the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, with Pittsburgh escaping to stay perfect. You heard the voice of Jay Will there at the top of the hour just seconds ago, ready to greenlight Operation Tank for the Dallas Cowboys. Essentially, try to get a draft pick as high as possible, see what you want to do. There has been a notion floated that with Dak's impending free agency, his injury, you don't know how he's going to bounce back. The fact that if you draft a quarterback, think about this, fellas, for a second before we hear from Jerry. Here are the financials, and nobody's a better businessman than Jerry Jones. Just look at that stadium, AT&T Stadium, and what he's turned the Cowboys into, right? He bought the Cowboys for about $100 million. They're now the most valuable sports property in the world. The guy knows what he's doing. Think about this. Joe Burrow, first overall pick this year, right, by the Bengals. His entire contract, Bart Scott, Jay Williams, Bart in for Key this morning. Joe Burrow's entire contract, 4 years, $36.1 million. Essentially what Dak Prescott would be making this year alone in salary. So you can get a stud at the top or near the top for the amount of money you would have to pay Dak for one season. And it could be even more if Dak signs a long-term deal. Jerry Jones asked on his weekly radio spot on 105.3, The Fan, in Dallas yesterday, essentially, is there any possibility, listen to the question here from the host, on finding a new signal caller in Big D?
You know, right now, it looks like we're in line for the 3rd pick. Now, it could move up, could move down, but if it stays at 3, is it crazy to bring up the idea of taking a quarterback with the 3rd pick, or the 2nd pick, if you may have it?
Yes. You asked me if it's crazy to bring the idea up, and I'm answering you, yes. We're playing games here, guys, but it's not the thing to be talking about at all. You know, Dak is our quarterback.
Well, at least he didn't tell the guys to shut up, which is what he did the week before. But I don't want you guys to shut up.
I would have signed up for this show, man. Can I get a subscription that it comes straight to my phone? You never know what the hell Jerry's going to say, man.
I love that Jerry said, yes, it's crazy. I love that he said that. You want to see an owner back a guy like Dak Prescott, who's always said the right things. Always. Who's always done the right thing. Who has been the leader of your team day in and day out. And obviously it shows every single Sunday when he's not on the field how his leadership is missed on that field. But is the question crazy when you really think about it? No. It's not crazy, because you're watching how Dak progresses throughout his rehab. Yeah. And if he isn't progressing in the right manner that you think he can get back to where he was before, this is business. And at the end of the day, as much as you morally want to do the right thing for Dak Prescott, if he's not where he was before, and if you don't think he can get back there, it's about hedging your bet for the future of your business. And that could mean taking another top prospect.
And here's the issue, right? Like, I don't know how it is in basketball, Jay Will, when you guys fall down, twist the ankle. I don't know if they stop practice. Oh, my God, Jay Will's down. Go get the ice. You know what they do?
So you know, as you're saying this, who's missing from our show right now who has a bum bruise? Just saying, as you're about to kill basketball guys on injuries.
But I'm just saying, on football, they literally will step over you, turn the drill around, and you feel like the most isolated in the world. I'm talking about guys sitting there crying, turn the drill around. Like nobody pays attention to him. So the fact that we're going to have empathy for Dak Prescott, it's a business. And at the end of the day, if Dak Prescott is your quarterback of the future, then you got to show him how much you love him. You don't show him by giving him a 1-year deal. You show him by giving him the contract that he wanted before he got injured, because he showed you how valuable he is, because you thought just plug in the red rifle. You thought just bring in Dalton and everything would be okay. Dalton's probably one of the most accomplished backup quarterbacks in the game right now. And this offense looks horrible. Jerry has to determine this. And I know it's not really Jerry, because it's really his son, Steven, who's really kind of been taking over the reins and telling Jerry, hey, don't go get Johnny Manziel. We're going to get Zach Martin. Let's go out and get the right player. Let's not go get the flashy player. But they have a big problem in Dallas. that once great wall that made everybody great is no longer there. Tyron Smith's gone, right? Travis Frederick retires. So now they got to figure out how they're going to rebuild this, rebuild this wall to protect whoever's at quarterback. They're horrible. They're almost spineless at defense, right? They spayed, last week they showed some heart, like they went to the Wizard of Oz, like, and he got a heart. But this team has an identity crisis. We don't even know if they got the right head coach. And instead of saying, you know what, instead of trying to double down, they may even need to be considering making a change there, because it looks like Mike McCarthy has already lost that team already. I would be looking up in Oklahoma and seeing if I can get Lincoln Riley to come down and coach this team so I can have a more progressive offensive take.
Well, you're only as good as the players that you can coach, right? Yeah. To a degree. So I agree with what you're saying defensively. Look, I sent out a tweet this morning. I said, expect BS, but don't accept it. Like, that's my line, right? So if you're Dak Prescott going into this, like, you have to expect it. People always conflate loyalty as opposed to business. Like, you can be loyal up to a certain point until it's not good for business.
Right.
And then you have to do what's good for business. So Dak still has a lot to prove, even though I think he would.
I think he has nothing else to prove, Jay Will. And this is the problem, right? If he comes back, Dallas may say, you know what? We love you. We're going to franchise tag you. It's going to be $35 million. But Dak's going to say, listen, then I'm a lame duck, because if I get hurt again, I got no stability. I got no security. I have no financial security, because if I hurt myself again, this would be the last money that I ever get on the high end of the market. So I want a long-term contract. That's why guys don't really want to play on franchise tags. They bet on themselves, but they're really scared and afraid. And I wonder if Dak had taken out a policy on himself.
But Bart, I don't know if is it that black or white? Like, is it that easy of a thing just to say, I'm going to give you a 4 or 5 year deal? Like, I think you still have to kind of watch how he progresses. I know it doesn't determine his arm, but I mean, it's a lower body injury, man. Yeah. And for a guy that needs to move around in the pocket, even if you do put the assets towards your offensive line to protect him, he's still going to need to do that. So if he's injury prone, that's something you have to realistically think about.
Yeah, but didn't Carson Wentz get paid after he tore his knee up?
That's fair. That's
we've seen a lot of quarterbacks. It's not the kiss of death that it used to be.
I want to see Dak Prescott get paid.
Right.
Don't I want anybody to mistake that. I want to see him. I feel like he deserves to get paid. I'm just playing devil's advocate of looking at it from the other side. If you're willing to make a long-term investment in something that you're unsure about the stability of it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And you mentioned Stephen Jones, the executive vice president, Jerry's son. To your point on Mike McCarthy, there is some doubt, but he came out earlier this week and squashed it publicly, at least, and said absolutely
That's the kiss of death. That's the kiss of death right there. Oh, I support you. Just like Gettleman. I didn't sign him to trade him. Listen, that's the kiss of death. That's the last thing I want to hear is the vote of confidence.
Here's one more thing.
Let's see how that works with Adam Gase.
That's fair enough. Usually, vote of confidence is like the last straw before it all goes down.
He's our future quarterback, Joe Douglas, Sam Darnold. Just mark that down, people.
Here's one other thing you have to keep in mind timetable-wise, and this is really important on Dak Prescott. The injury is 4 to 6 months, which means he could be back in time for the offseason program. He should be fully recovered if it's going the way they hoped. Surgery was successful, rehab's underway, but Bart, I know you're about to say something. Yeah. He would be back in March for the offseason program, which would be before free agency or the draft. They would have an opportunity to see where he stands before either of those two events. In each case, they could acquire a quarterback via free agency, trade, or the draft. Yeah. He should be back and ready, able, willing to go before then.
They have to sign him first, right? You can't cut an injured player, right? That's a rule. But he's a pending free agent, so you lose his rights as soon as the start of the football season starts. So how do you really evaluate him? Like, he's going to be throwing to somebody somewhere else. Like, he's going to be in a certain part of his rehab where he might just start throwing and running around. So how can you evaluate him? As soon as March hits, it's a wrap. So you say 4 months.